want to talk today about forgiveness. So we always hear forgive and forget. Forgive your enemies, forgive people, forgive your past, right? Forgive yourself. But what forgiveness is, it's actually a skill. It's not just something we all have the ability, but it's not something we just do naturally, right? Our natural thing is to hold on, is to fight, is to grudge. But unfortunately, what happens when we do that is we are hurting ourselves. We hurt ourselves more than anybody else by not forgiving. So just like we go to a job and we learn certain skills, like we learn how to use Microsoft Word, we learn how to read books and analyze text in school, we also can learn how to forgive, but we have to practice at it. So just like anything, we might spend years learning skills in college and high school, right? But how much time do we spend learning the practice of forgiveness, learning how to do it? Because we're generally not taught that in schools and things like that. So it's a practice. So one thing that I started doing was put my hand over my heart or over my stomach, because we actually carry a lot of our pain in our stomach, in our gut area. So I may put it over the stomach and sort of send energy there, kind of like just put it like this. And then I'll start to forgive. You might be forgiving certain people, certain pasts. You might go across the way and forgive a bunch of people. You might be forgiving yourself. You can do different things, but for example, I just did an hour-long forgiveness meditation, and it was incredible. So what I did was to forgive some of my family members. So, like, for example, our father and our mother, they carry a lot of ancestral energy through their lineage. And if we don't forgive them and forgive their ancestors, we may carry that as well. So you may have seen that sometimes down your father's lineage, your mother's lineage, right? They have the same sort of issues, like the father, the grandfather, the great-grandfather, maybe the siblings. They sort of have similar issues in certain areas. That's because there's a certain energy that's been carried down through that line. And you can keep the energy. The energy probably got processed into you as well. So it's your choice. Do you want to continue passing it down the line to your offspring or to other people? Or do you want to stop it? Do you want to cut it off at where you are? You be the chain that cuts off this past lower energy that's been going down through your family line. So you can do that by forgiving yourself, but really forgiving maybe it's your father, maybe it's your mother, and their ancestral past. So one of the phrases I was using was, I forgive my father and his ancestral past, or I forgive my father and our ancestral past. I love my father and our ancestral past. So I just started kind of saying that over and over and over, just very calm with the breath. And I did it for about an hour, and it felt amazing. When you're first doing forgiveness work, it may feel like, I don't want to. You start to see where the blocks are. You start to see how you actually want to hold on, and maybe how you actually want. So what I noticed was sometimes I wanted to be in pain, so I could show, my dad or my mom or whoever, that I was in pain and it was their fault. It was all subconscious. I wasn't consciously doing this, but it was like, let me go to be in pain, so they see that I'm in pain, and then they know that they caused me to be in pain, so they feel, upset and mad at themselves, right? That was the sort of, when I started looking at the logic and the feelings behind it, that's what it was. So that's what our minds do. They'll self-sabotage ourselves in order to try to hurt other people, but really we're just hurting ourselves, and we're not even aware that we're doing that. Because logically, that makes zero sense, right? Especially when we grow up and we come to a certain level of awareness, it makes zero sense to do that. But emotionally, we have still carried those emotional ideas and thoughts in our system. So why is that? Why does that happen to everybody? It's because of it's not like, oh, why does this have to happen? Oh, woe is me. No, it's part of our spiritual work here on earth, our internal work. We have our external work that we want to do for the world and do for others, right? And create in our jobs and our careers and our businesses. We also have internal work. That's also part of our missions here. And one of them is to learn the art of forgiveness. So, if you can spend 8, 10, 12 hours a day on your external work, that's great. Can you spend 30 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day on your internal work? Can you spend a couple hours a day on your internal work? Once you start doing that more internally, for me, I found it to be just amazing. Like I spend a lot more time on my internal work now than I used to, because it's where all the juice is. It's where all the feeling is. Where all the life is. And at some level, you realize the internal work may actually be more important than the external work. It's probably in balance, to be honest, but depending on where you're at or where you're at in your life. But yeah, so that's what I do. Forgiveness is a skill. So when you're first doing it, like any skill, it's going to be challenging. You're not going to want to do it. You're going to feel the blocks. You're not going to do it. What you do is you just keep doing it. You keep pushing through like any skill. You're riding a bike, you keep doing it, and you get better at it. Forgiveness, you keep saying it, and you get better at it. So it's really simple to do, but it's not easy. Really simple. All you have to do is sit there for 10 minutes, put your hand on your stomach, say, I forgive my father and his ancestral past. I love my father and his ancestral past. Or my mother and their ancestral past. I love their and their ancestral past. Or you pick specific people that you feel may have hurt you or upset you in your life. But I will say a lot of the other people in our lives, usually it comes down to maybe like a father or mother figure. That energy was created when we were kids by whoever raised us, or it was carried through the blood. The energy was carried through the blood and the line. So if you want to go to the root cause, usually it's going to be like the people who raised you, like your father or your mother. So if you want to go right to the root, then just start there. So I hope this helps. Please do it. Hit subscribe to our channel and talk to you guys soon.